Once I enter London, they will deport me. Now be stranded in Dubai alone. They will take me off to Spain for prostitution. Hello there beautiful people, and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, hey, my name is Lizzie and I'm a second year medical student at the Caribbean Medical School, and on this channel I create content related to medicine, beauty and lifestyle. So if you're interested in those kind of videos, consider subscribing to my channel and joining the fam. It's all love over here. So as you can already tell from the title of this video, this is going to be a story time, and I'm going to be telling you guys about my experience the first time I was coming to St. Kitts. Okay, let me first start by telling you that to come to St. Kitts from Nigeria, there's no straight flight. You have to either go through the UK, go through the US, or there's one other route like that you pass 6 countries and travel for like 4 days. That one you don't need a visa, you can just be going. So anyways, my mom and I decided that I was going to go through the UK route. So we went on the UK website, applied for our visa. We did not consult anybody, honestly. It was a pretty straightforward process. We just went there and applied for the visa. We got our interview date, went for the interview, got the visa, paid for the flights, and we're about to go. The visa came just in time for me to leave. It came the day before I was supposed to leave. I went from Zaria to Abuja by road, then took a flight from Abuja to Lagos. So when we got into Lagos, it was pretty late. It was already way past 10, almost 11 p.m. So my mom was like, okay, we should just hang around the airport and just wait, because my Virgin Atlantic flight that was leaving Nigeria to London was supposed to leave at 7 a.m. the next morning. And if you know how these things work, you know that when they say flight is leaving by 7 a.m, check-in is going to start like 2 hours prior to that. So which meant that we're going to start checking in around 5 a.m. So my mom just thought that okay, it would just be wise for us to just hang around the airport. Once I check in, get into my flight, then she can go. So that was what we did. We just, found somewhere comfortable. We sat down, plugged in our phones, we're just gisting. I slept a little, she slept a little, and all that. So once it was 5 a.m, they started arranging the counters for checking in. And then my mom had already told me before then. She was like, okay, I should get my passport, my yellow card, my admission letter, my receipt for tuition, and my student visa. I should get everything ready and hold it with me. So when we went to check in, I noticed it was taking like 3 to 5 minutes for them to check your documents and all that. Then you'd proceed to go and get your boarding pass. So when it got to my turn now, I gave the man that was at the counter, I gave him my documents. He was like, hey, what's your final destination? I said St. Kitts and Nevis. He said, what are you going to do there? I said, I'm going to school there. So he said, let me see your admission letter. I showed him. Where is your receipt for payment for tuition? I showed him. Then I just noticed he started looking at my ticket very, very closely. He just kept on looking at it. 3 minutes passed, he was still looking at it. 5 minutes passed, he was still looking at it. Then he now called somebody. He was like, Oga, come look this thing. The man came, he started looking at it, looking at the ticket, looking at my visa, looking at the ticket, looking at my visa. I was like, what happened? What going? And after they just finished looking at it, next thing he just says, madam, we cannot carry your daughter. It's like, this your visa, it will not permit you. We cannot carry your daughter, ma. He just said, just move one side first. I was like, what do you mean just move one side first? So we went one side, then another man came to attend to us. He was not the one explaining to us what happened. So the other man was like, so your visa states direct airside transit visa, and then your ticket is showing that you're going to land in London in Heathrow Airport, and you're going to depart London from Gatwick Airport. Your visa is direct airside transit visa, so it's not going to allow you to change airports. so we can't carry her on this flight. My mother was like, okay, if she cannot change airports by herself, can't you guys carry her from one airport to another? He said no, if I try that, if I enter London, once I enter London, they will deport me. I was already like, what's all this talk of deportation now this early morning? My mom was like, is there no any way we can go about it? He said no, if I try that, they will deport me, and if they carry me on their flights, they are going to fine their airline £3,000. I was like, ain't nobody got £3,000 to pay. So he was like, no, there's nothing we can do about it, just go and do another visa. My mom was like, Oga, please, now is there anything you can do? Please, this girl cannot miss her flight, she has to go to school. He said, how is that one his problem? At that point, my mom started crying. I started crying. I called my dad and I was like, Daddy, they don't want to carry me. And he was like, what do you mean they don't want to carry you? So I started explaining it to him. He was like, what's the meaning of that now? So we went back to the man again. And we're like, sir, please, is there anything you can do for us? He said, there's nothing I can do for you, ma. Just please go, please go. I have other people to attend to. Just please go. It was so frustrating. So by this time, it was already like 6:45. And the flight was literally about to take off. We were still begging. We were still there begging, like, please, sir, send to. He said, no, they are not going to risk finding their airline. If I try it, they are going to deport me. He just kept on saying deport. I said, the way this one is just throwing deport left, right, and center. That was how I missed that first leg of the flight. And then the thing about this flight is that it's a series of connecting flights. If you miss the first leg of the flight, then you're going to miss the other flights. So my mom just called the travel agent that helped us book the flight. She was like, please, can you move all the remaining flights because she has missed this flight. So we went back to the counter again and we asked them, so please, what can we do? So we met another man. This one was slightly nicer, more accommodating, and he was like, okay, so just get another ticket that will carry her. It will land in Gatwick and leave from Gatwick. They had gone very far. We're just walking around the airport, going to different airline offices, asking them if they had flights, checking online. So we finally found one flight with Royal Air Maroc. It was going to go from Nigeria to Morocco to London, and it was landing in Gatwick, and my other flight was taking off from Gatwick. So we're like, okay, this looks like a good flight. That Royal Air Maroc flight was leaving at 1 a.m. the next morning. I don't know what kind of airline leaves at 1 a.m. but that flight was going to leave at 1 a.m. in the morning. And then around the time we found the flight was like 5 p.m. It was already late again. So my mom was like, nah, she doesn't want me to miss this flight. So we stayed in the airport yet again. We rested, freshened up, ate food, and then we slept a little. Once it was like 11 p.m. went to go and check in. So when we got to the check-in counter again, I brought my documents, gave them my new ticket, and then they started looking at my ticket and passport again. I was like, what is it? Like every other person is passing, why do you guys keep looking at my own ticket? What is wrong? What's the problem now? Then the man just looked at it again. He was like, madam, you get problem with this your ticket? Oh, I said, Jesus Christ, what is it again? What is it again? At this point, I was having mad anxiety. I was like, what is it again? And then he looked at it. He was like, that this my visa is not going to allow me to stay overnight in the airport, because that flight was going to land in London that day, but then my next flight was going to leave London the next morning. And he was like, oh, their airline doesn't have any facility for me to sleep over, and my passport is not even going to allow me to stay over in London. That only allows me to arrive in London that day and depart from London that day. I cannot stay more than 24 hours in the airport. I was like, what kind of useless visa is this? Then I looked at the visa and I saw duration of stay 2 days, and I was looking. I now showed him. I was like, but it says 2 days here on this thing. He was like, no, those are the rules. Then he brought one year handbook and was like, look at this, look at what it says here. Look, are you seeing what it says here? Look at what it says here. You cannot stay longer than that. If you stay there, you'll be stranded in the airport, blah 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 blah. So he was like let him call somebody at their head office in Abuja. He called the person. The person was like, no, we can't carry her because we don't have any hotel facilities for passengers. I was like, that was how they wrote my name in the name of people that did not show up for the flight, and that was how I got dropped from that other flight. Second time, I was distraught. At this point, me and my mom were not even crying at this point anymore. We're just like, okay, it's pretty early in the day, it's still 1 a.m. all right, let's just go and rest. Once the airline offices open, we're going to go and find another flight. But my mom called the travel agent and cursed him out, because at this point he was just being very useless. He already knew the limitations of this our visa. Like, he's supposed to be a travel agent, he's supposed to know these things. Like, since we've already made the mistake to get a useless visa, at least give us a flight that is going to, you know, accommodate all these new changes. The man was just there, just doing anyhow. When the airline offices started opening, we went to different airlines and we're just asking. So we found one Turkish airline flights. But then when we wanted to pay for the flight, the problem with the flight was that it was going to land in London the next day at like 10 a.m. and my next flight was leaving London at like 10:30. So the time between when I was going to arrive in London and when I was going to depart in London was just 30 minutes, and the people, they were like, nah, they're not going to advise me to do that, because 30 minutes is not enough time for me to check into my next flight and get on the plane. And sometimes flights leave some minutes earlier than scheduled, so they may not leave that 10:30, they can leave 10:15, and by then I may not even have come down from my flight. So they were like, nah, they're not going to advise me to buy that. So that was how that other flight went. I did not go with that one. So we kept on checking that day. Then we found another one, another Qatar airline flight. That flight was lovely. It arrived in Gatwick, left from Gatwick. It arrived that day, left that day, and then there was enough time for me to check into my next flight. So we went to go and book for that Qatar Airways flight. We went to their office, and then when we were booking it, they just looked at my visa again. And they were like, no, that this my visa is not going to allow me. This visa was extremely useless. They just said that I cannot pass through immigration, so I cannot collect my baggage from their flight and check it into my next flight, and they don't have an alliance with Virgin Atlantic. So they were like, they would just suggest that I go and look for another airline that has an alliance with Virgin Atlantic, so I don't have to collect my bag. I can just leave it and they will check it through to Virgin Atlantic for me. So we did that. The Qatar Airways too left. At this point, my mother was already stressed. She was like, am I sure I'm not going to go and follow that Ethiopian route? So we went to the Ethiopian Airlines office and we asked them, and they said, oh, the next flight they have is going to leave on Monday. That was the next Monday, and this day was like Wednesday. So I was like, so we'll have to go back to Zaria and leave the next Monday. I would have missed so much in school already, because I was already resuming 2 weeks late. I was like, nah, please God, no, let me get another flight today. So we just kept on looking. At this point, we're looking online by ourselves, because that travel agent was extremely useless. I saw one flight online. It was an Emirates flight. So we went to their office and we asked them, do you have an alliance with Virgin Atlantic? Because my visa is not going to let me collect my bag. So they were like, yeah, they do. They can help me check my bag all through to St Kitts. So the next time I'll see my bag is when I land in St Kitts. I'm like, well, thank God, that sounds so nice. So me and my mom were so happy. We now went to their payment office to go and pay. As we were getting there, the next thing I heard was, this is the final boarding announcement for flight Kini and Emirates. I was like, that flight was literally leaving. It was literally leaving, and that's how we missed that flight again that day. That one left. At this point, me and my mom were just so tired, and she was like, it's as if we're just going to go home. Let's just pack our things and just go. I was like, mommy, please, let's just wait a little, let's just check again. Because I was already thinking, I was like, we don't do farewell party. They will see me again in Zaria. my mom started getting angry at me. She was like, you see, this is why I told you not to tell people you're traveling. The African parent in her jumped out. She was like, you see, this is why I say you should not tell people you are traveling. Now you see, you cannot even leave. At this point, I started believing her. I was like, maybe it's true. But I'd already opened my mouth and told everybody that I know, hi, I'm going away, bye, I'll miss you. Now I could not leave. They will see me again. Let me take something to wet my throat. So my dears, we started checking online again. At this point, we got another travel agent. He helped us to look for another flight. We found that same Emirates flight, but it was leaving the next day. So that same flight that we saw that morning was leaving the next day, same time at 10 a.m. So I was like, yes, this is the flight. God, please let nothing be wrong with this flight, because I already was having a little PTSD from this flight wahala. So we still had time to spare that day, so my mom and I, we went into Lagos, we drew money, went around a little. So we came back to the airport like 8 a.m. the next day, ready for this flight, just in case anything happens. We came early, went to the check-in counter. When it got to my turn, I gave them my papers yet again, and then the man started looking at it again. At this point, I was like, God, please, because I just had it at the back of my mind that, God, if I don't go with this flight, so I'm going to go back to Zaria. So the man was looking at the flight, then he called somebody else. I was showing him something on the ticket. Apparently, the man did not know that I could check my bag all the way through to St Kitts. So maybe he was a new guy. But his worry was that I would not be able to collect my bag, and the other person just told him, oh yeah, she can do that, she can check her bag all the way through to St. Kitts. So he finally checked my bag, and I was able to move from the check-in counter, guys. So at this point, I had graduated from check-in counter to going to collect boarding pass. Upgrade. So I walked past the check-in counter, took my hand luggage with my mom, and went to the boarding to go and get my boarding pass. So while we were still there, my mom met this nice lady. She spoke to her, blah blah blah. Just, you know, they just got acquainted a little. The lady was traveling to Scotland, but she was going to go through Dubai. So she just linked me up with the lady. So she was like, okay, this lady should just be with me if I need anything. So I got my boarding pass. Whew. I got my boarding pass, and then they weighed my hand luggage, and I could now go. So I was now walking around with my mom. We still had like an hour before the flight was taking off. So when it was like 30 minutes for the flight to take off, my mom just walked me to the lounge where the checked-in passengers stay. So obviously she could not get in because she's not a passenger, so she just bid me farewell. We hugged, said our goodbyes, took some pictures. In the pictures, I look so crusty. I think I'll insert one picture here. I look so crusty because I was tired. I was so tired. So my mom hugged me and we said our goodbyes, and then we were leaving. I looked for that woman that my mom linked me up with, so I just kept on going with her. I'm so glad I met that woman because she was so helpful to me. When we got onto the plane, we sat together. I got very sleepy, and I was just so she allowed me to, you know, lay my head on her shoulder, and I slept. And then when it was time for them to serve food, she woke me up, because those people, they're not going to wake you up. If they just see you sleeping and they're sharing food, they'll just say, this one no one chop. They will just pass you. So she woke me up and I ate. So when it was like about time for us to land, the Dubai airport is a noiseless airport, so they don't make any announcement for flights. They will just tell you before you land. They will tell you where your boarding gate is and all that kind of stuff. So I was sleeping. The lady woke me up and she showed me. She was like, okay, this is your boarding gate where you take your next flight. If she didn't, I would have not known. I would have just gone into the airport clueless and be waiting for them to announce my flight, and that's how I will not hear anything. I will miss my flight again. I will now be stranded in Dubai alone. They will take me off to Spain for prostitution. I woke up, when our flight landed, this vehicle took us from the plane to one other part of the airport. So we took that to the other part of the airport, and then we started looking for our boarding gate. Everybody just scattered and started looking for their boarding gate. So the lady's boarding gate was like at point B and mine was like at point C. It was pretty close to each other, but it was still two very separate parts of the airport. So when she got to her own gate, she was like, all right, just go down there, you see your own, bye, good luck, blah blah blah. So she left me and I found my boarding gate and I sat there. So as I said, they did not even announce that they were going anywhere. I just started looking around. I just noticed the people that were sitting around my boarding gate with me. If they move, I move. Even if they are just standing up, if they move, I move. So when I just noticed all of them started moving, I was like, it's about time, it's about to go down. So I just moved with them and it was time to check in. So I went to the check-in counter yet again, and then the lady did now start looking at my visa. I was like, God, please, not thinking. What is it now? So she now started looking at my visa. She now started speaking in Arabic. So she went and showed the other guy, another man behind her, my visa. Apparently, because my school visa was not ready, the school gave me a letter stating that they will give me a visa on arrival. So she just went to go and confirm with the other man if that was allowed, and the man was like, yeah, sure, they can do that. So she came back and she just explained to me. She's like, oh, sorry, I just wanted to confirm. I was like, thank God, I thought you wanted to deport me. So I collected that. I went into the lounge again to wait. Then the flight took off. This flight was very comfortable. I did not sleep. I was so excited. Finally, things started going right in this journey. So the flight was like maybe 5 hours or 6 hours. Then we landed in London. So when I landed in London, I was not sure where to go. I just started seeing people walking. People were just walking. They were not saying anything. They were just walking. Like, it's as if everybody knew what they were doing except me. They were just walking. So I was just like, since I don't want to ask questions, let me just, I think I can figure it out. So I was just walking with the people that came down from the flight with me. I walked with them and I went and joined the queue. They were checking something. I was like, let me just check, maybe, let me just check too. So I just stayed there and I was following the queue. When it finally got to my turn, this queue was pretty long. When it finally got to my turn, I got to the front of the counter and then I gave them my papers again, and they started looking at my visa and they were like, oh, sorry, this is a transit visa, we can't let you pass through immigrations, so you have to go back down, go like this. I was like, why didn't I just ask question? Who sent me? Should they've told me already that this trans visa, they will not allow me to. Where was I going? Apparently those people were literally coming back to London, so they will pass through immigration and go to their house. I don't know why I was following them. I had a plane to catch. So I went the other way. I went the opposite way and I went to go and look for the check-in counter for Virgin Atlantic. So I went there. I found it quite easy to find. The day was very nice, so I gave her my everything. She checked it, then she gave me my boarding pass and I went to go and find somewhere to sit down. Then it was time for the flight to board. I went onto that flight. That flight was very long. The flight from London to Barbados was long. It was almost 9 hours. I was just there. I slept and woke up, slept and woke up, slept and woke up, slept and woke up. Anyways, so finally we got to Barbados. At this point I was already a pro, I already know that once you land, just go and look for your check-in counter, get your boarding pass and just go and sit down. So I was already a pro. So I looked for my check-in counter. I found it. Then the people at the counter now told me that, oh, I have to pay for excess luggage. So I paid for the bag. Then I came, collected my boarding pass and I sat down. Then the flight boarded. It went from Barbados to Antigua. So when I got onto that flight, I was exhausted. I was honestly just tired of all this traveling. So I started sleeping. I was just sleeping and sleeping and sleeping. Then when the flight stopped at Antigua, obviously that was not my final destination, but I saw people leaving the flight and I thought, oh, I've reached St Kitts. So I started coming down too. And then the air hostess just noticed. I don't know, thank God for her. She just looked at me. She was like, is this your final destination? I was like, yes. She now said, is your final destination Antigua or St. Kitts? I was like, because she was speaking in their accent and I did not understand what she was saying. She was like, is your final destination Antigua or St. Kitts? I said, She now said it again the third time, then I finally heard what she said. And I was like, oh no, St. Kitts. She was like, no, this is Antigua. I was like, thank God. That's how, if she was not there, I would have just come down and walked into Antigua and missed my flight again. Ha, wahala. So thankfully she was there to tell me. So when she told me, I sat my ass back down and I continued sleeping. The people that were dropping at Antigua came down. The people that were going to St. Kitts came onto the flight, and then we proceeded to St. Kitts. So when we got to St. Kitts, came down from the flight, and now I was finally allowed to pass through immigration. So I got to immigration, then they started asking me plenty of questions. They were like, so where am I going to? Where is my address? I don't know my address. So I called my housemate because I already had accommodation on the island coming. So I called my housemate to ask her what our address was. So she told me. I gave them. They asked so many questions. I told them. Then I went through, collected my bags. Finally I saw my bags. They were looking tip-top shape. So when I came out, the school sent the bus driver, Mr. Kimbo, to come and get me from the airport. So he came, he helped me put my bags in the car. Then he gave me a complimentary SIM card to use because I cannot use my SIM card on the island. So he gave me that, then started taking me home. Anyways, we got to my house and that was it. Finally I saw my housemate. I had been talking to her since from Nigeria and I was just seeing her for the first time. So we just started chatting. So that's it, guys. That's the story of my very chaotic trip the first time I was coming to St. Kitts. One thing you should take away from this story is that you should have a sensible visa. Please don't make the mistake me and my mom made. Please have a sensible visa and a sensible travel agent that knows his way around visas and knows his way around booking flights, because that would have saved us so much stress. So guys, if you got to this very point in this video, I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed filming it for you guys. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. This lets YouTube know that you guys are enjoying this video and it's going to help suggest the video to other people to watch. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so that you get notified every single time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. So guys, with this we come to the end of this video. I love you guys so much and I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye.